All right, so you guys are already familiar with this ongoing debate that has pretty much taken the entire internet by storm this past week. I mean, seriously, this debate is massive. I mean, almost everybody is talking about it. And it all stems from one tweet. Like, it comes from one tweet that went insanely viral. And now it's turned into this big discussion which has completely divided the internet. It's crazy. I mean, I even did a poll on this topic on the channel just a few days ago. So I'm like, you know what? While this is still kind of a hot topic, while it's still fresh, yeah, I might as well, why not make a video talking about this, give my 2 cents on this discussion here, on this debate. So yeah, we're going to be talking about the 100 men versus one gorilla debate. Now, where does this all come from? Like I said, it comes from a tweet that went super mega viral. A user on Twitter by the name of Dream Chaser Mike put out this tweet about a week ago, and it reads as follows: I think 100 to beat one gorilla, everybody just got to be dedicated to this shit. That was it. That was a tweet. And it has nearly 300 million views. So what is that, like 85% of the entire population of the United States has viewed this tweet. Like it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. But this was the spark. This is what set off this huge debate that literally everybody and their mother is talking about right now. And the thing is, like, this isn't the first time we've seen, these silly, stupid animal debates go viral. I mean, we've seen it a few times in the past. But I think with this one specifically, the reason why it's, like, such a big topic is because I think it's, like it kind of is symbolic on how society, views humans and human intelligence and men, or the capabilities of a man. Like, the fact that so many people are divided on this is like, yeah, just tell you, yeah, this is kind of like, this is kind of indicative of where we are as a society. I mean, whether or not, that's good or bad, I guess it's based on your own perspective. I'm just saying it's a very interesting topic. It does say a lot about, society and culture and whatnot. But that in itself is a whole nother topic. That's a whole different can of worms. You know what I'm saying? So we're just going to specifically look at the prompt, and I'm going to explain who I think would win and why. I personally think that this really should not be a debate. I just think it's super like one-sided, and it should be like pretty obvious as to who would win, me personally. But before I get into the breakdown, let's just start with what it is that we're talking about here. 100 men versus one gorilla. Who wins the fight? Now the original tweet doesn't specify anything. Like, there doesn't specify like any specific variables. The tweet just says, I think 100 men could beat one gorilla if they were, dedicated enough, right? It doesn't say anything about, specific conditions, or like whether or not the men have weapons, or whether or not, they're highly skilled men or just average men. It doesn't describe the setting at all. It just made a kind of just a very general and vague, assertion about who he thinks would win in the fight. For me, this is how I interpret it. We're looking at 100 average men. We're not even talking about like peak humans. Or we're not even talking about athletes. We're not talking about Olympians, right? Highly trained and highly proficient fighting. No, we're just talking about just your regular average everyday man, but 100 of them versus one silverback gorilla. And then both sides don't have any weapons or tools at all. And you just throw the combatants in like a football-sized arena, or maybe some kind of open field or whatever. Both sides are bloodlust, and both sides are fighting with the intent to kill. Like, that's the hypothetical scenario that I'm looking at. And that's what I'm going to be talking about, and who I think is going to win in that scenario. So let's start off with breaking down, the stats. I'll start with the average man. It should be pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. The height of the average man, at least in the US, is around 5'7", 5'9". The weight of the average American man is around 200 pounds, but us Americans are pretty fat. So if we're talking about the world in general, it's probably like, anywhere from 170 to 200. So maybe let's just say for the, for this scenario that we're going to use about 170 pounds as the weight of an average man. Now, the average untrained man can punch with a force of roughly 200 to 400 pounds, while professional boxers and martial artists can generate around 1,000 pounds. But again, we're talking about the average man here, so roughly 200 to 400 pounds of force when it comes to striking power. In terms of lifting strength, the average man can lift about 275 pounds in a deadlift. Now, when it comes to speed, the average man can run 15 to 20 miles per hour. And then when it comes to durability, I mean, we don't really need to talk about durability because we already know that humans are relatively weak when it comes to the durability scale. Doesn't really take much to take out a human. It takes roughly 1700 psi to break the femur, which is the strongest bone in the human body. So you can imagine it would take, much less force to break, other parts of the body. So like I said, pretty simple. We all know what the average human is capable of. Now, gorillas, on the other hand, that's where things get a little wild. So the typical silverback gorilla can stand anywhere from 5'5" to 6 feet tall. They usually weigh about 400 pounds on average. They can punch with a force of 1,300 to 2,700 psi. When it comes to lifting, they can lift about 1,800 pounds on a deadlift, though some studies suggest that a gorilla can actually potentially lift way more than this. It's theorized they can potentially lift 4,000 pounds. For speed, anywhere from 23 to 25 miles per hour. When it comes to durability, we all know the gorillas are much more durable than humans. A gorilla's skull is estimated to be about 9 inches thick. Compare that to the average human skull, which is about 6.5 to 7.1 millimeters thick. Now, the last stat that I want to talk about for the gorilla is its bite force. Gorillas have a bite force of about 1,300 psi. That is nearly twice as strong as the bite force of a lion, which is only 650 psi. The average human only has a bite force of about 120 to 162 psi. So after going through these stats, it's pretty obvious that the gorilla has the advantage when it comes to strength, when it comes to durability, when it comes to power, when it comes to its weight, its size, its mass, even in speed. When it comes to physicality, the average gorilla is superior to the average man in every single way. It's not even close. The gorilla is only 10 times stronger than one singular man. But we're not talking about one man, of course. We're talking about 100 men. So, how would a fight between 100 men and one gorilla play out? Now, of course, I've seen a lot of arguments from both sides, and I see a lot of people saying that the gorilla would easily win this. I've seen people say that the gorilla will literally just tear every human apart, limb from limb, with ease. I've also seen people say that, well, the gorilla would just kill one or two, and then the rest of the men will get so scared and so demoralized after seeing somebody get ripped apart right in front of them that they'll just run away in fear, and they just won't even try to fight the animal anymore. Yeah, so many arguments like this, which is true, which is valid, right? Like, realistically, yeah, if 100 men were to try to fight a gorilla and they literally see a man getting ripped apart right in front of them, most likely they're going to be terrified. They're going to be psychologically traumatized from that, and would just not even want to even approach the animal anymore. But this is a hypothetical situation in the first place. This wouldn't even happen anyway. And realistically speaking, if 100 men were to approach a gorilla, the gorilla is going to run away in fear of its life as soon as it sees 100 men. It's not going to try to fight 100 people. As soon as it sees 100 people, it's going to run. Like, that's just what it's going to do instinctively. So I'm not looking at this as, how would it play out in real life? Because it would never happen in real life. And realistically, again, one man will get ripped apart and the other man will just cower in fear, run away. Or the more likely outcome, the gorilla is going to run away the moment it sees 100 people approaching him. Like, that's just what's going to happen. I'm not looking at this that way. I'm looking at this fight as a death battle, as a versus battle. So the 100 average men we're using are bloodlusted. The gorilla is bloodlusted. They're on the battlefield or in this arena, and they are fighting with the intent to kill each other. The gorilla can only escape if it kills all 100 men. And then for the men, they have to, save the universe or save the galaxy or something. The only way they can do it is if they kill this one gorilla. Like, that's how I'm looking at this. It's literally life or death for both sides. No one's running away. No one's scared. No, they are out for blood. So again, who wins this? Both sides are bloodlusted, no weapons. Who's going to win this fight? Well, like I said earlier, I think this is pretty one-sided. I think it's pretty obvious who should win this. I think the 100 men would win low to mid diff, to be honest with you. I generally do not believe that the gorilla even stands a chance. I mean, 100 men is just too much. Like, 50 would probably be more than enough, honestly, to take down one gorilla. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking, like, bro, you just broke down the stats of a gorilla. The gorilla is 10 times stronger than a man. It has a thicker skull. It has a more powerful bite force. It can split banana trees in half. It can lift more than 4,000 pounds. Like, what do you mean? Like, the gorilla would just bulldoze all the men. It would just toss them around like rag dolls. I think the reason why this is such a divisive topic is because I think most people just overestimate gorillas, like, to an absurd degree. And I think part of that is due to how gorillas are portrayed in media entertainment, like movies, cartoons, TV shows, video games, comic, like all that stuff, right? Gorillas are usually depicted as these, these hulking, like, beasts, these warriors, these fearless fucking just machines, they're just out for blood, and they just go on a rampage and they destroy everything that comes in contact with them. They don't give no fucks. They are just mean. Like, we all remember those scenes with Buck from Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Then you have, King Kong, who was literally fucking boxing with Godzilla. So we see how gorillas are depicted in media, and we think, oh, that must be how gorillas are in real life. Well, no, in actuality, gorillas are pacifists. They're docile creatures. They don't fight. Like, for the most part, they're just chilling. They actually go out of the way to not kill people. Like I said earlier, if this is a real life scenario, if 100 humans approached a gorilla, the gorilla's going to be running for its life. Shoot, even if it was just 10 men approaching a gorilla, it's going to run. It's not going to try to fight unless it absolutely has to or needs to. But gorillas are just not like that. I mean, yeah, they can be territorial, but they are not, they're not hunters. They're not predators. They don't eat meat. They don't actively kill humans. They don't hunt for prey. No, they mostly eat plants and fruits and stuff like that. For the most part, they're just gentle giants. And speaking of giant, I think people also overestimate the size of gorillas as well too. I think it's because most people just haven't ever seen a gorilla in real life. They're not that big. Like, they're big, but like they're not the size of the fucking Hulk or anything. Like, in every single one of these simulations and these, AI videos and AI art I've seen with this, 100 men versus a gorilla debate, and every single one of them, the gorilla is like towering over every single man. Like, it is like 3 times bigger than every single man in every single one of these videos I've seen. And it's just like, bro, like, gorillas are not that big. We're not dealing with we're not fighting fucking Galactus over here. Like, gorillas are in real life are relatively the same size as a human in terms of height. I think once you actually kind of visualize like what a gorilla actually looks like in real life, you can say, okay, you know what? Maybe 100 men fighting that wouldn't be as hard as some people would make it out to be. And the reason for that is very, very simple. What humans lack in brawn, we make up for with our brain. Obviously, the gorilla would one-shot any human in a 1v1. Obviously, we know that. There's not a single man that's ever lived in the history of our world that could ever beat a gorilla in a one-on-one fight. It just would never happen. That is an undisputable fact. But 100? There's no way that a gorilla would be able to take on 100 men by itself. I'm sorry. It's just no way. I think the people that are saying that it would are imagining this 1v1 100 as 100 1v1s, like the gorilla is just taking on one man at a time. But that's not what this is. It's 100 men fighting one gorilla, and they're all fighting all at once. Like, they're not just taking turns. Like, number one goes, you're in line, you're first in line, you're next, I'm next, and you're behind. Like, that's not how this is going to play out. They are all jumping this animal. They're not going to be waiting for their turn to scrap. Now, like, they're all in there. But the gorilla is just so much stronger. As soon as somebody gets near him, he's just going to not punch his head off. He's going to smash him. He's going to tear him apart. Every single one that gets near him is going to get killed. Here's the thing, okay? Like I said, what we lack in brawn, we make up for with our brains. The average man knows what a gorilla is. It's not like the 100 men have never seen or heard of a gorilla in their life. They know what a gorilla is. They know what a gorilla is capable of. They know that a gorilla would just literally smash into bits as soon as it gets its hands on them. So even while all these guys are bloodlusted, they are not all just going to charge at a gorilla blindly in a straight single file line, thinking that they're going to be able to beat it down with their bare fists. Like, that's not going to happen. Men are not that stupid. Even the average man is not that dumb. That's what the gorilla is going to do. Gorillas are fucking stupid. As strong as gorillas are, they don't know how to properly fight. They pretty much just swing their arms around and throw their weight around, hoping that they hit something. They don't have any real technique. They don't know how to use tactics. They don't know how to strategize. They don't know how to plan. That's just not what they're known for. Like, yeah, gorillas are smart when compared to most animals in the animal kingdom, but compared to humans, like, they're fucking stupid. I mean, other animals like pigeons, crows, corvids, dolphins, octopuses, they're all smarter than a gorilla. Gorillas are not even the smartest among the great apes. I mean, chimps, orangutans, they're smarter than gorillas too. So yes, we are dealing with, an absolute beast who can literally one-shot us as soon as we get near it. It's just not very smart. It would not take much brain power for us to outsmart and plan a strategy in order to beat it. I've had someone tell me that, well, 100 random guys are not going to be able to coordinate at all. Like, 100 random people are not going to be able to coordinate and strategize and come up with a plan to defeat the gorilla. Like, really? Like, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, about how society views the human intelligence. Like, you don't have to be a master tactician or a high-ranking military officer to come up with a strategy to beat a gorilla. We're dealing with 100 average men of average IQ, not 100 men with Down syndrome or something. Like, it's not going to take much brain power to beat a gorilla. Like, we're not fighting fucking Light Yagami from Death Note. Like, we can come up with a basic, simple strategy to beat this thing down. Even when it's 100 random dudes, they have enough basic, common sense and reasoning to know that, hey, if we all try to charge at this thing all at once, we're gonna die. Like, we can't do that. And again, even when bloodlusted, like, humans still have the capacity to come up with strategies and plans, even when, they want to kill something. Like, it's not like you just go fucking, it's not like these guys are just gonna go like complete zombie brain and just completely turn their brains off just because, they want to kill something. Like, no, they're still going to be able to they're still going to be able to come up with strategies. And one strategy, which I think is the most optimal one to use in this situation, is to simply just tire it out. Because the thing about gorillas is they have horrible stamina. They're not known for having good endurance. Typically a fight between two adult gorillas lasts about a couple minutes at best. They can't fight for a long period of time. They don't know how to properly conserve their energy or their stamina. And that's ultimately going to be their greatest weakness. And for humans, that's literally our greatest strength. That's why humans were so successful at hunting. Our ancestors were able to hunt down and chase down animals that are way faster than them, because after a while, the animal has to stop in order to recover its energy. Humans don't have to do that. We can recover our energy as we're running because we sweat. We know how to manage our energy output. We know how to conserve our stamina. We know when and when not to overexert ourselves. So when it comes to this battle, here's how it's going to play out. The men are going to surround the gorilla, but at a safe distance. Enough distance in between them and the gorilla to whether they can actually, maneuver and have time to actually react and dodge if the gorilla tries to charge at them. The gorilla is going to begin this charging towards one of the men, right? Once that happens, he's going to start running. The other men around are going to scatter about. You have some men get behind it shouting and making noise to kind of get its attention. And then once that happens, the gorilla will turn around, go after that man, and another man will do the same thing, rinse and repeat. And they just keep doing that. They just keep kind of running about, keep scattering about, keep diverting it, keep distracting it. And the gorilla's going to be super confused because it's not going to know who to go after. It's going to chase one guy. It gets distracted by the other guy. It's going to go after him. And it's going to keep doing this back and forth until eventually the gorilla is going to get tired and worn out. Because the gorilla is, it's trying to kill us. It's bloodlusted. It's going to be using all of its power. It's going to be going full speed, full charging at us. And it's going to be trying to, it's going to be swinging. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be swinging as hard as it can to try to tear us apart. And maybe, it'll catch, a few of them. He may catch maybe about 10 or so men, maybe. But we just keep doing that for, about an hour or so. It really won't even be that long, to be honest. Maybe after 5 minutes, really. The gorilla's going to start slowing down. It's going to be fatigued. It's going to get tired. And then once that happens, it's pretty much game over at that point. That's when the rest of the men attack. That's when they all jump in after it. Maybe have 3 or 4 men on each limb trying to pull it down, trying to pin it down. You have another one jump on his back and try to get its arms around his neck, maybe try to choke it out, gouge its eyes out, jump on his back, gouge his eyes out. Another man could, go for its genitals and go for I'm being serious. I mean, when you're trying to kill this animal, you got to do what you got to do, right? So you go for the weak spots, the eyes, the balls, all that. And like I said, at this point, the gorilla is so tired, it's so fatigued, it won't have enough energy to even try to, lift itself off the ground if it gets pinned down. It's not gonna have enough energy to be able to even swing at them, because its body's going to feel so heavy that it's going to just collapse. It's not going to be able to get out the way. It's not going to be able to lift all those men off of it. And especially if it's blind too, especially if it gets blinded. So then now you have a gorilla that's both tired and in pain. I'm not saying it's going to give up. I mean, sure, if somebody gets too close, it could still, bite a dude's head off. But I'm just saying, for the most part, once we all start jumping in, it's pretty much game over. It's eventually going to fall to the ground, and then we just pile on top of it, and then we just suffocate it or just crush it with our body weight, and then that's the end of the fight. Now, a few men on the bottom of the pile, they're going to suffocate too, but there'll still be, 70 to 80 of us left after it's all said and done. And the reason why this is a foolproof strategy is because this actually works in the wild. There's videos you can find online of honeybees doing this to a giant hornet. The hornet is a natural predator to the honeybees, as it's much larger than them, right? But when the honeybees swarm it all at once, they literally just pile on top of it, and they all start vibrating super, super fast to generate enough heat that it literally cooks the hornet from the inside. They literally cook it to death.
Then one is caught. It's the signal the others have been waiting for. Surrounded by vibrating bodies, the hornet at the core of the bee ball begins to overheat. The bees have the advantage, a heat tolerance 2 degrees above that of their enemy. At 46 degrees Celsius, the aggressor is roasted alive.
Even though each individual bee is so tiny compared to the hornet, when it gets swarmed like that, it's too much for the hornet to handle, and it gets overwhelmed by the sheer number. And that's exactly what's going to happen when 100 men fight one gorilla. Now, I don't know if I don't know if we can vibrate our bodies like that to generate heat to literally cook it from the inside. I don't know if we can do that, but again, just literally just piling on top of it to where it literally has no space or room to move, to the point where it can't even, breathe, it can't get any oxygen in its lungs. Like, yeah, once that happens, it's game over for the gorilla. It's just no escape. I mean, that's a real phenomenon. I mean, that's what crowd crush is, right? I mean, you're just in a large crowd of people, and there's just no space for you to even move around or even take in oxygen, so your body literally suffocates. So again, that would be the most optimal strategy to use when fighting this thing. Now, if they want to, obviously they could try to, beat it to death, right? They could, just keep on stomping and kicking. It's going to take a longer time, don't get me wrong. Like, doing that, it's going to take way longer because gorillas are more durable than humans. They have thicker skulls. But I mean, eventually, yeah, once enough repeated blows to the head, like enough kicks to the head, will at some point, it's going to start feeling pain. It's going to start feeling the damage. It will succumb to those injuries at some point. Eventually, you will crack that skull. It just will take a long, long time. Plus, you end up risking more people dying. You end up risking more people getting their fucking, legs chomped off. So it's more risk doing that as well too. But ultimately, again, the humans would come out on top in both situations. It's like, yeah, gorillas are tough, but they're not that tough. You know what I'm saying? They're not fucking tanks. Like, they can be damaged. They can be hurt. It's not like our punches and kicks would do literally nothing. It's just after a long period of time, especially when it's weakened and tired, yeah, it will start eventually. It is going to start hurting. They are going to start taking damage. It'd be, a death by 1,000 cuts. So all in all, a pretty easy victory for the humans for the most part. I mean, like I said, low to mid diff. If they use that strategy, which again, it's like, why wouldn't they do that? Again, the average man knows what a gorilla is. Like, it wouldn't make any sense for you to just blindly charge it and try to attack it like you're going to do something. Like, that's stupid. Like, I'm a fucking idiot. Even I was able to just come up with a simple plan and strategy as to how to beat it. Like, you don't have to be a fucking, the master tactician or a high-ranking officer. You don't need to be that. You don't need to be fucking Albert Einstein in order to come up with a complex fucking equation to try to beat a gorilla. Like, it wouldn't be that hard to figure out. It just comes down to the numbers, man. I mean, it's like, it doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter how tough you are. At the end of the day, it's always going to come down to numbers. Like, this isn't an anime. This isn't a movie where you can have one character who's taking out an entire army by himself. Like, that's not what happens in real life. That's just not the reality. Like, you put Mike Tyson up against 30 average men, they're going to beat him. Like, Mike Tyson is not going to win that. Like, he'll obviously knock out, a couple of men, but he's not beating 30 men by himself. Now, if they're all jumping in from all directions, all angles, no, Mike Tyson is not winning that. You could have Mike Tyson fight 50 middle schoolers. The middle schoolers are going to beat him. It's like, it doesn't matter how strong or tough you are, man. That 1v100 stuff that you see in TV shows, movies, video games, etc., it's like, that's cool and all, but it's just not reality. It only works in those scenarios because, number one, I mean, it's not real life, it's fiction, but also because the person that is literally taking on entire armies by themselves is literally, he's on a so much higher level of power. The power gap between him and the people he's fighting it's absurd. It's not even close. Like, 100 men fighting one gorilla is not the equivalent of Madara versus the Shinobi Alliance. Like, it's just not. The difference in power is just not that big to where the gorilla is just going to just plow through and just one shot every single human with, like, casually with zero difficulty. Like I said, in reality, in nature, in the real world, when it comes to the numbers game, like, yeah, it's the numbers are always going to win at the end of the day. The gorilla is just not going to win the battle of attrition. So yeah, with that being said, as much as it is fun to talk about this, yeah, it's really not a debate. It's not close at all. 100 men would clear a gorilla 8 to 9 times out of 10. And trust me, I like gorillas, but people really be wanking them too hard. I mean, it's like, gorillas are just really overrated at this point. It was only a few years ago where people were debating a grizzly bear versus a gorilla. It's like, dude, what? Are we being for real? Like, people are really debating this? Come on, dude. Like, a grizzly bear is gonna just one-shot a gorilla. Actually, like, no difficulty at all. Like, that should have never been a debate. I don't know why that was a debate. Grizzlies can decapitate moose with just one paw swipe. I mean, it's like, what is a fucking gorilla gonna do against that? Even leopards are known to hunt down and kill gorillas, and at max they weigh about 165 pounds, so they weigh about as much as the average human, while the average grizzly bear weighs like 800 pounds. So, like, tell me, I don't know what in the world. If gorillas can be clapped by leopards, how are they going to beat a grizzly? Like, come on now. But what are you guys' thoughts, man? Do y'all agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you think the 100 men would easily beat the gorilla? Do you think the gorilla would just sweep? Feel free to drop a comment down below. This is different for me. I don't normally do videos like this, like versus battles. It's not something that I normally do, but if this is something that you guys like, if y'all want to see me do more of these, let me know. I could be down to doing some, you know, versus debates or versus topics in the future. Like I said, I just want to chime in on this because this has become like the #1 topic on the internet. So I just wanted to give my take on it. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.